Let's begin with a breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Welcome to Rooted Exchange. I'm Rachael, and this is the beginning, the seed of why we're here. I'm recording this in a quiet corner of my home. The laundry is humming in the background. My son's toys are scattered across the floor, and this is real life. It's imperfect, ordinary, and also sacred. And that's where this podcast begins. And maybe the best place to start is with me, with the way I've moved through the world and how that's led me here. For as long as I can remember, I've had a strong sense of who I was on the inside, but I didn't always know how to let her be seen. I learned early how to read a room, how to understand what people needed, how to shift gently, subtly, to keep the peace. It wasn't loud people pleasing. It was more like emotional attunement, the ability to take up just enough space. I think that it made me thoughtful, intuitive, and generally easy to be around. But it also taught me how to quiet my own voice. It wasn't erased, but it was just tucked away, waiting in the background. I remember sitting in a meeting once, nodding along, even though inside I disagreed, and my body knew it, but my voice stayed quiet. And that's when I realized I had learned to adapt so well that I had forgotten how to belong to myself. And yet, even in those quiet years, there was always a part of me paying attention, noticing, recording, holding on to the details of life, which brings me to the girl that I used to be and the notebook that I carried everywhere. I've always been a watcher, a listener, a feeler. Even as a kid, I carried a notebook everywhere, scribbling down the things I noticed, things I wondered about, the things I didn't have words for yet. One page was just a list of words: sad, tired, brave, waiting. I didn't know what they meant, but I knew that they mattered. That notebook was my way of saying, I see you, I hear you. I wrote down the way people spoke to each other, the way someone's face changed when they were trying not to cry, the way joy gathered in someone's eyes before they even smiled. I didn't have the language for it then, but I was slowly studying the inner lives of people. And storytelling became my way of making sense of what I felt. So I studied journalism. I learned how to interview in a way that lets people soften. I learned how to listen to the story beneath the story. Writing and witnessing have always been how I understand the world and myself. And somewhere along the way, adulthood made that part of me quieter, but she never left. And when motherhood came into the picture, she returned in full force, because motherhood didn't just change me, it revealed me. Motherhood didn't create my voice, it made it impossible to ignore. There was something about giving birth that cracked something open, not in a dramatic way, but in a deeply honest human one. I remember holding my son and realizing he doesn't need me to be agreeable, he needs me to be whole. And I wasn't sure yet who that was. And suddenly, the ways I had learned to shrink didn't work anymore. They didn't fit. So I began the slow work of remembering. What do I like? What do I need? What do I believe? How do I speak when I'm not managing the room? This work is tender, it's ongoing, and I think it is what makes us profoundly human. And I know I'm not alone in that, because there are so many of us living through seasons of transition, seasons where we feel something shifting, even if we don't yet have the words. Let's talk about that. This isn't just a story about motherhood. This is for anyone in a season of becoming, anyone who can feel that something is shifting even when you don't have the words. Maybe you've been carrying more than anyone realizes. Maybe your voice has been quiet for a long time. Maybe you're outgrowing a version of yourself that once served you, and now you're learning and exploring what comes next. You don't have to have the answers to be here. You just have to be curious. Maybe you're listening while folding laundry, or driving home from work, or lying awake at night. Wherever you are, if you feel something stirring in you, then this is the space for you. And part of what makes these transitions so hard is I started to see how much of life we are expected to carry alone. We are told independence is strength. We are praised for functioning without help. We're expected to know things we were never taught. But historically, humans did not live this way. We lived in networks of shared care, shared responsibility, shared wisdom, and shared stories. I remember immediately postpartum realizing how much I was expected to carry alone. And yet when a friend dropped off soup, I felt more human than ever. That's what shared care looks like. Small, ordinary acts that remind us that we're not meant to do this alone. Rooted exchange is a return, a remembering, not of the past, but of our nature. To be held, to be connected, to be known, to be witnessed in our becoming. Not because we are weak, but because we are human. And that's the heartbeat of this podcast, which is why it exists. This podcast is not about self-improvement. It's not about performing insight or even arriving somewhere polished. Here we make space for the quiet truths, the ones we carry, the ones we're just now beginning to name. In this podcast, we're going to talk about coming home to the body we live in, reclaiming voice and identity, changing friendships and relationships, and how to navigate them as we grow, learning how to receive support instead of just giving it, and rebuilding community in a world that encourages and celebrates isolation. Some episodes will feel like sitting across from someone who gets it. Some will feel like learning. Some will feel like remembering. All of them will be grounded in honesty, curiosity, and shared humanity. I don't have all the answers. I'm not here as an expert. I'm here as a woman in process, inviting you to sit with me in the questions. And if you're wondering what your role is in all of this, here's my invitation to you. If something sparked in you while listening, that's enough. You don't have to know who you are becoming yet. You can just be here as you are. This podcast is about building the village we dream about through shared stories, shared resources, and a network that makes each of us feel seen and special. Just breathe with me. Just be here. I'm Rachael, and this is Rooted Exchange.